What is going on, guys? Noah here with Custom RC Mods. Today we're in the studio looking at my very first time chasing airplanes with an FPV quad. As you might know, my racing drone career is in its infancy and I'm getting better and better every single day, but I've seen this done on pretty much every single flight test episode, and it's really something that I've really wanted to try for the longest time. So tonight is my very first attempt at that. So yeah, I thought I'd give you my thoughts, but without further ado, let's go ahead and get up in the air. Alright, so we are up and just kind of getting our bearings. The first order of business is to find the plane. Tonight, I'm going to be chasing an FT Simple Scout with my good friend Alexander at the controls. And a little bit about him, he was the one that actually got me started, converted over to the dark side with RC Flight. I have been obviously driving cars for the longest time, and that's where this channel was founded on, but I would not have 21 airplanes and almost 4 quads now on this channel if it weren't for him. So yeah, he's been a great mentor for me. It's been a lot of fun to fly with him, especially now in these summer nights. As you can see, we've got a nice sunset here. But yeah, kind of getting my bearings is actually a lot easier than I thought it would be, except the one thing that I kind of learned about this is that you got to stay consistent. You can't be too crazy with it. You can do like split S's and orbits around the plane, but it's a lot easier to lose sight. So big props to the people at flight tests that do it, like Maddie, Ian, TJ, all those people that have done it before. Alex, you know, they are really good at doing it consistently for the entire flight. So you can see, I mean, we've got some decent footage here. However, it only really lasts for a clip about 5 seconds, and then, you know, I kind of lose the plane for a second because I need to go ahead and get my bearings back and stabilize the quad. But yeah, so talking about the quad here, we do have the Schizo Nova build. You guys have probably seen the videos on that, with the main power plant being the Emax 2306 2450 kV motors, and they are very powerful in conjunction with a 30 degree camera angle on this beast. This thing is a decent bit faster than the Simple Scout is, of course, so you'll find me kind of overtaking this thing very easily in this footage. That was one thing. When I do this again, I'm definitely going to go ahead and lean out my camera angle because, as you can see, I'm approaching it here, and then pretty much I get up right next to it, and then I pass it, and it's hard to go slower because then your horizon's out of whack, and you can't keep it in the center of the frame. So kind of think about that, and that's one thing that I definitely learned on this very first flight. And another thing is, you're obviously seeing this through the DB Power 4K action camera that I had mounted up in my initial flight video. This is a very good camera. I can't lie about that. It is, it has really good colors for the price. 4K recording, of course, for $30. I mean, I really can't complain. Sharpness is on point. However, the auto exposure is just terrible. You can see we're facing away from the sunset now, and the below the horizon is perfectly in focus, but now we face towards the sunset, and it tries to bring the sunset back in focus, and you can see now everything's underexposed below the horizon. Just a little mini rant there. I hope there's some setting where you can kind of slow down the auto exposure refresh rate, because that is kind of bugging me there, that I can't really get consistent footage, and that's one thing that you really lose when you pay for the less expensive action cameras. But hey, for my first time flying, definitely don't want to strap on a really expensive camera here, so it's definitely doing the job well, and that's just a very nitpicky kind of response to actually a really good camera. So yeah, back to the flight here. I'm not going to waste your time talking about that. I could talk about that all day though. You know, we're kind of getting our bearings here. It's interesting. A lot of this was just a lot of learning, seeing what I could and couldn't do. And one thing I quickly learned is that you can actually be pretty jerky on the controls as long as you keep the plane in the frame there. So it's interesting. It's not like cinema drones like I have my Mavic. It's a lot different than that because you have a subject, you have a foreground and a background. Foreground obviously being the plane, background being the you know, the field or wherever you're flying. And it's interesting because I don't have to be completely smooth as long as the viewer's eyes are still on the plane in there. So it's less about being smooth in a sense and more just about keeping the plane in the frame. So that's definitely something I learned, if that makes sense. But yeah, and we're getting really good flight times on here. We're at 4 minutes now approximately, just up in the air, following this around. Obviously, I'm not really pushing this quad to the max in terms of current draw and voltage sag on this Rhino 1550 50C battery. But definitely very respectable, especially for quads of this size, running these very, very large motors. So really happy with that as well. yeah, just kind of chasing in through. You can see I'm speeding up and, you know, overtaking the plane once again. So, like I said, camera angle was one thing that came back to bite me on this. I thought that if I had extra speed at my disposal, I'd be, you know, able to maneuver around the plane a little bit better. However, obviously that didn't help when I was just, that forced me to go ahead and have to move all around here. And that was just really, really annoying at times. So yeah, sometimes just kind of staying back right behind into the side of the plane is the best camera angle that you can get. So don't really feel like you have to go ahead and do those loops over it and orbits around it, because obviously that makes it less consistent to stay on the shot, if that makes sense. But yeah, that's about it for my battery. You can see kind of bringing it back in. 5 minutes of flight time is very, very respectable on a quad of this size, drawing that much power on those big motors. So yeah, gonna go ahead and land now. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed this. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, go ahead and comment down below, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.